Hello, just this is going to be a brief video on introduction to POS systems. Chapter 6 really dives deep into the POS and talks a lot about the different functions, a lot of different reports, things of that nature. And it really kind of just talks about the POS as a standalone kind of thing. It doesn't really talk about a lot of the more advanced features, add-ons, and things of that nature that you may or may not see in a restaurant. So, having said that, the POS is an important piece of gear. It's more than just a fancy cash register. It's way more than a fancy cash register. It can do things. It can help you in many different ways. And one of the problems with most restaurants, I won't say most, but several restaurants, is it's either their POS system is underused, it's misused, or it's misunderstood. All right. Now, underused, that's bad. You know, if you have features in there that are going to help you in certain aspects of your business, you'd want to take advantage of it because you've already paid for it. All right. Now, misuse is where it becomes a problem when people don't really understand how to use it. So they use a function in the wrong way, which can cause a lot of problems. It can cause problems with the record keeping, and it can cause problems with, even just totaling up bills. If instead of using a modifier key, a server uses a comments, modifier keys will give you that comment, add bacon, whatever, but it'll also oftentimes, if you wanted to, add a value to that. So it adds to the bill. If you just put a comment, add bacon, then it's not being paid for. All right. And those things can add up to $10,000 over a year. All right. So believe it or not, I did the math to my cost control. We did the math for somebody, every employee stealing one piece of bacon every day. And it came up to something like $3,000 a year or something like that. So if you imagine that, with you got a lot more customers than you have employees, and if every modifier represented a zero, is where it should have been $1, $2, or whatever, then that can quickly be tens of thousands of dollars a year. So misusing is it's very important. So the key takeaway is when you work at a restaurant, when you own a restaurant, and you have a POS system, choose the one that's right for you. And the discussion this week, we're going to talk about that a little bit. And not only choose the one that's right for you, but use it and train your people on it. Because, not getting everything out of it, some of these things are so feature packed that you're not going to use everything, and you just slowly try to increase your utilization. But that's one thing. But when I have people making mistakes, and those mistakes are going to cost you money, or make the POS report in ways that's wrong, and you think you're doing well because someone misused the unit. So that's a bad thing. So how can the POS help you, other than just being a fancy cash register? Many different ways, right? And like I said in the beginning, it can be tied in with a lot of different softwares that all can be tied in there. You can tie it into your inventory system, all kinds of different stuff. But even as it is, as it's the most basic of POSs that are specifically intended for restaurants, can help you with your cost control. Big time. The different reports will help you understand all kinds of information about it. It can help you to identify your popularity index with your menu items. It may help. A popularity index, for those of you who don't know, is how popular an item is. And if you don't have any way of tracking it, I've said to many of these students before that people will think, oh yeah, this is a very popular item, but when you look at the numbers, it's not, right? So having that record is very important. So keeping track of that popularity of items so you can order the right amount, so you're not misordering because you think that everybody orders one item that they don't order. All kinds of different ways it can, and it gives you the numbers, gives you the raw data, so you can figure out your food cost percentages and all that other stuff. So there's a lot of really good stuff going on there. Labor management. Big thing that it's in the chapter and in the video that you're going to be watching for the video for the discussion this week. Labor is talked about a lot, and one thing about labor is how many of you have ever worked at a restaurant, or you might not have because you might not see behind the curtain, as it were. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of managers out there. A Friday rolls around, and they realize that holy crap, so and so is 3 hours into so and so's shift. He's going to go into overtime, so they cut him, right? And they cut him on a Saturday, right? That's a really bad time to cut somebody. So keeping track, having daily reports of your labor lets you know what you're on track for the end of the week, and you can budget early instead of trying to budget late, like cut people off at the very end, because that's a bad way to do it. Now, these are all commonsensical business decisions, but they're hard to make without some kind of record. And the POS is your best friend for that. Another one being CRM. CRM, customer relations management, huge, right? Anytime we have a customer that we have like a value coupon, or not value coupon, what they call them, like a club card or something like that. The rewards member. Um, then we can keep track. If every time they come in, they swipe their rewards card, we can keep track of them. We can keep track of their buying habits, and we can even put information into their files. Like if it's they came in for a reservation, they said, "This is a reservation on the 26th of August for our 30th wedding anniversary." We can put that in there, and then we can set it up so that we have understanding that next August, a couple of weeks ahead of time, we're reaching out to them and says, "You want to do another reservation?" Stuff like that. So CRM is huge, and that information has to come from somewhere. Just putting in stubby pencil somewhere or putting it in a Word document is just not going to cut it. So, what did I say? I said the CRM, cost control, labor management. I alluded to inventory management. They're really good at inventory management when you tie it into the rolling inventory, the perpetual inventory. It's essential for figuring that out. Um, so read the chapter. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. I just wanted to kind of give you my take on the POS and how important it is. And I know some of you who have worked at different restaurants know that when you ask somebody in the management about the POS, hey, can it do this? And they're like, no, it can't do that. Or I don't know. Right? I literally have worked at a place where I got used to being able to go to the manager from the back of the house. So I didn't really have a lot. I wasn't doing the typing in myself, but I'd go to the manager and say, "Hey, I need to know how many of these items we sold tonight, or how many we sold over the times, because I'm doing something." These were specialty items, so it wasn't like uh, a rolling inventory or a perpetual inventory. These were things like, "Hey, the last time we offered this special, how to do?" Um, Reports like that, and they always gave me the reports. And matter of fact, at one place I worked at, they would push me because I did special on Friday nights. I did sushi specials, which weren't on the menu, and it was pretty elaborate. So they would give me a report on how my performance was and which of the items that I was offering did. They give it to me automatically. I went to another place, which was a much more sophisticated operation. I said, "Listen, I need to know how we did on this item and this item." "Oh, we can't do that." I said, "Yeah, you can in the POS." It was the exact same system. I looked at it. It was the same company, same system, but the one place where they whipped out these reports without any problems, right? 20 minutes of training, the manager knew how to whip out these reports. The other place I went to, nope, can't be done. Even if it can be done, I ain't going to do it because that would mean learning something, and then that's not going to happen, right? So that is a big problem with a lot of places with the POS. My best advice to you as far as technology goes and POS technology, learn your system, use the features that you think you're going to need. Don't ignore a feature because it's a little difficult to learn when it's going to be beneficial to you. Find out the benefit. Really research the benefits. All right. So that's POS in a nutshell. And let's have a great week, and I will see you in the next video.